What is up, my friends? Now I know you're probably waiting for some Star Citizen content, but as we wait for patch 3.18, if I'm being honest, we're all just kind of waiting around for new game mechanics to come into the game unless you're playing it in the PTU. And I'm not a big PTU player because I hate feeling like I wasted my time. I have a bunch of thoughts on how I think they could improve that system, but I'll share those for another video. What I'm going to do today is talk to you about a different role-playing game. Obviously, this one looks like it's on a map, and you're like, oh, no, I don't want to play it. But if you've never played Bannerlord before, or you've never seen it, it's a total riot. And I'm going to give you some quick tips for how to get started. More importantly, what not to do. You can do kind of basically anything in this game, but I'm going to just give you a few quick thoughts on the things that landed me in the most hot water the first time I played. Number one, your quests. You're going to have a few quests. Ignore these if you don't want any spoilers. I haven't gotten very far on them, but you're going to notice that there's a shutout here for 1,216 days. Let me go ahead and fix this here too. 1,216 days. You don't have to do this for 1,216 days. That's when the entire quest concludes. You'll notice I've played for like almost a whole year before deciding what to do. And that's because the first time I played, I did this way too quickly and got slapped by a mechanic that happened that's very hard to stop. So don't do that, and you will be a lot better off. So that's first off. Give yourself some space. Second off, what should you do during that period of time? Number one, build up your money and build up your income. There's a few ways that you can do that. If you look here, you can do that through caravans. You can also do that through workshop income, though I find that to be kind of trash. It is technically more than $0. So, you know, it does make you some money. And then you have mercenary contracts that also get you the most amount of money. So, and this is something to note. You have to go to the leader of a faction and pledge yourself to them. And that's going to allow you to become one of their mercenaries. Typically, like in this case, or you'll see a lot of other streamers that'll say, hey, look, go fight for Britannia. That's going to make you a lot more money. If they're seriously losing the war, then then they'll net you more money. I've been fighting for a while now, and I just like the Aserai. I actually have a decent relationship with Khaled. Like, I just always release whoever I fight in battle, so that way I have a good relationship with them, hoping that when I set up my own kingdom, they won't constantly attack me, or if they do, that I can negotiate a settlement with them. But I have 100 relation with Unkid, so I'm just kind of being his friend. We've won several of our wars. They're making good money. They have, as you can see, almost 10,000 strength here. I don't think anybody else. Crusade is doing okay. But yeah, nobody else is even close because we've just rolled. So it's probably about time for me to swap. I fought for Sturgia in the beginning, but they just were tactically so stupid that it was hard to make progress in the war. Though I think that he's like 27, so he doesn't love me, but he's pretty happy with me. I've like fought Gyarios like in 3 wars, and I just release him after beating him, and so he's my friend now. Monchung is the only one that hates me right now. So, but this is actually, I'm doing like a role played thing where I actually am Kuzate, but my whole village was burned down, and Monchug refused to do anything to save my people. So I'm gonna exact my revenge on him in the long run. Anyway, the role playing in this game is totally fun if you just like make up a story in your head, and I love doing that. So those are my first couple pieces of advice. Make sure you have good income. Get this number up to a pretty decent amount before you become a vassal and start getting cities and need to actually take care of people and take care of stuff. When your money takes a turn for the south, it's very hard to repair and replace. So a couple of other things that you can do. You also note that my party wages for my party are very expensive, 2,700. And then I have 3 other parties that have nominal value to them. You can cap those, but they also bring in money. So I think that they're worth having. The way to create new parties, by the way, this is something you should learn to do rather early. You come into this section and you press create new party. Every time you rank up a clan tier, you get to create a new party up to clan tier 4, I think. I don't know if you get more than 4 parties. I've never made it to clan tier 6, but we're going to get there. And then I think I can have up to as many caravans as you have clan tiers. You're going to want to focus on caravans and focus on the characters that are good in caravans. So you can see how many troops they have. Looks like these are fairly balanced. She kind of has the best one with 7 horse archers. But Aika is not my very best. I think that... Oh, she's actually... No, Daria and Aika are doing really well both right now. I have my little sister that I raised to be amazing at doing caravans, but she recently got captured, so I need to have her come back to me as soon as we're done with the siege. But basically, what you want to focus on is just trade. Like, they'll naturally get better at scouting. That one's helpful just so they can move a little faster. Riding in a similar vein, but you just want them to move quickly between towns. Like, having steward and leadership doesn't really matter because they're capped out at 30 units anyway, so not a big deal. But just like medicine, scouting, are the kind of the on the map ones that matter, as well as riding in battle. And if they have a battle ability that can help nominally, where they can beat battles that are kind of close. But right now, the biggest one that makes a difference for caravans is just trade, because that's how much money they make every time they their buy sell delta whenever they enter a town and buy something and then enter another town and sell that thing. So that is that's that. Second off, get married, or not second off, we're on to like a whole bunch of just a series of things here. Get married to someone who has really high skill points, that is young. And if you are a male, then just obviously that matters more because you want them to be of childbearing age for longer. And then you need to travel with them, stay in cities, rest in cities, and that's how your spouse will become pregnant. I have a problem right now where like I need Nasoon and Savannah to be um to lead parties because they're just very good party leaders. And I'm trying to build up my kingdom, but eventually you would kind of not want these two to do that. You would want them as your companions, immediate companions, and then having them stay at cities with you and make babies as well. So right now I have 2. And then we're just going to kind of keep that going. Oh my gosh, she has all 4. Is that because of her mother? That's amazing. That is quite nice. And then recruiting companions, you're going to want them to match specific skill sets for you. They are changing this in an upcoming patch, but as of right now, you can actually go into your encyclopedia and you can review anyone that you've already seen. But basically, I'll just go through, find people that have skills that I like, and then I'll just go ahead and tag them. So I've tagged Gizachild because she has scouting and roguery, and so I can have her fit a special need of taking care of like bandit missions or gang missions. There's a new gang mechanic that's coming in that I kind of want to try out. And then I have young women tagged in here, noble women that I can marry off my younger brother to. And then Vanther the Tracker has some of the best well-rounded skills, so he could be a party leader to replace one of those other party leaders that I have. Villatrude is another one of those young people, and Zuad as well. So I like to have one from each of the different factions, like whoever the best one from each faction is. That way, depending on what my relation is, it's that much easier to marry them and that much cheaper too. If you have like more than 10, you can marry them for super cheap if you have a good relationship with both the father and the spouse. So that's how that works. You can, an easy way to just filter here, you can go by wanderer, and then you can just kind of like click through and just look at all of them and then just tag them. So like Alian I picked because he's pretty well rounded. He has a lot of skills, and you can just add to a bookmark character. Aran, not so much. Good at engineering, but like a very nominally trash character otherwise. So you can just click through and just see like, okay, who has, oh, there you go. That's nice. Komar the Ragged. He has 2 traits that I don't love. So I haven't recruited him, and he's old. So he hasn't been on I haven't tagged him for those reasons, but this is a good way to assemble your cast and crew. And with the new pets, you'll have to encounter them first or hear word about them first. You can ask about people in the tavern, and they'll tell you where to go find somebody who's good at a specific skill. So go find those people, recruit them, and then put them into your party. That's a good way to go. This guy has leadership and tactics, so I'm actually gonna tag him. Anyway, and new people will come into the game as you play. The longer you play, the more people will come in. Next, who do you pick for soldiers? For your main army, this matters a lot. Actually, before I get to that, when you're building your character, for your main character, being good at a couple of different, like one melee skill and one range skill is really helpful. But it's actually less important. Oh, excuse me, so many yawns. Less important than your charm and leadership, and steward skills. So steward, you can have somebody else fulfill the role of quartermaster. You just need to have them covered. So you can see here, I can increase loyalty in my settlements with charm. This one's kind of nice. But increase your companion limit by 1 is super helpful. And then the influence per day is also helpful. But more importantly, leadership is going to give you every skill after 250 gives you +1 party size. And party size is basically all that matters in your main party for being able to win big battles, big sieges, hold territory, scare people off, get paid money for contract work. It just is all that matters, honestly. There are some other factors that can contribute to you turning a profit, like trade, stuff like that, but it's not. It just really doesn't matter nearly as much. And then you do want to watch your overarching skills here. You'll note that like charm is down to 3.63. But if I click on scouting, it's going to be less because of my attribute points. So just kind of keep your eye on that. And then your skill and attribute points will be up here. And you can choose where you want to put those to direct your learning rates and your skill caps. So you'll note that I don't really have any athletics right now is red because the learning rate is now down to 0. So I would need to invest into either endurance or into athletics. Which athletics is like good. And I know there's some people that really love it, but I basically just use this for sieges. And it suits my purposes for right now. I'll probably be focused more on tactics just because as the main leader that matters more. Then another side thing just about if you're playing your first time, I do strongly recommend two-handed. They're quite easy to use. Two-handed axes will one-shot basically everything in the game, including enemy nobles. Blackheart is one of the better axes you can get pretty early on. And then the each skill point increases the speed and damage. The speed is pretty helpful. So this is good, but the real reason I think that this one is the best is because of Baptizing Blood. Infantry in your party gain +5 experience for each enemy you kill with a two-handed weapon. So just when you're getting started, and then all melee infantry gain 5% more XP. That one's also nice. So as you're getting started in training troops, this one is so helpful because you can go fight a battle, kill 50 looters yourself, and like upgrade your entire army. So now, who do you include in your army? Now, I've taken a preference this game and kind of roleplayed it a little bit. I've built a lot of it around Kasate Consguard, but I do personally think that these are the best units in the game. They come with bows with 2 sets of arrows and glaives are amazing. They have really decent armor. They ride good horses, and there's only one set, so they are all uniform, which I actually really prefer. Even though it's not as immersive, I think that it just makes it easier to command them. You'll also notice that I have like some other troops in here. I have kept a very lean army. I only want the people that I want. The other people are in here just so they can garrison the city after I take it. The other group of people, Azurai Veteran Infantry, I think are one of the best units to start off the game with. A couple of reasons for that. Azurai Infantry have knob-headed spear and a Flissa. I think they just have Flissa. No, these ones have maces, maces, maces. So Azrai footmen are gonna let you capture more units after battle because you're gonna knock them out with maces instead of kill them with stabby stab spears. Um, and I think actually Azrai infantry have a sword too. So once you go up to infantry and veteran infantry, you can't do that anymore. But veteran infantry have horseman javelins, which are really powerful. Fine steel leaf spears and cascaras, all great equipment, and they have 161 handed, so they are very proficient in melee combat. Pretty well armored, not the best in the game, but pretty well armored. So anyway, these guys I have not had to replace many of them, and I've fought many a battle. So they have dropped off. I had them at around 40, but I just have taken like 6 castles since I had them at 40. So I've only lost a few of them. Granted, this is at the lower difficulty, so I'm not like shedding troops every day. Um, but that's where you're gonna want to be playing at when you first start out anyway. Then Elite Cataphracts. These are probably my favorite units in the game. For melee cav, they just do phenomenal damage. They have great Courser Lances, are amazing. Knight Shields are fine. The Paramarian is also really nice, especially for siege battles. And they're just walking tanks, so they're really hard to kill, both on horse and in sieges. So they're very well rounded that way. So that's why I carry so many of them, and I do more of them than I even do infantry. And then I actually I did for this one, I actually did Flandrian sharpshooters. Didn't like them, so I'm going to be pivoting to Battanian Fions, and I'll let you know about how that goes. But that's basically how I mix it. I do think it's helpful to have just uniform units, then march back to that part of the map, recruit from those units, and do them there. If you're looking for noble units like Khuzait Khan's guards or cataphracts, you recruit those from the cities that surround castles. Easiest way to tell what those are is to just look for a castle and then look for a city named that castle's name. So here you can see this one is Remtoil, so I would just look for a city called Remtoil. Right now I can't really move around because I'm stuck here, but here you go. Varan Castle, I would go to Varan. There usually are 2 cities, and if you hover over the city, it'll tell you where it's attached to. Let's see how it says bound settlement, and then trade bound settlement. This is gonna let me hover over this one. So yeah, this one says bound settlement to Varan Castle, and then the trade bound settlement is the settlement that Varan Castle reports up to. So something to watch. Couple other things just on money, just very quickly. You can also see your workshops here if they're netting positive. I can get 3 more workshops. You want to build workshops that are the only type of their kind in that settlement and where there are natural resources that are feeding into those. While there are some types that sell for more value, like pottery versus wood workshops, it's more important to have the resources feeding into them. That way they're constantly turning a profit. And then pick ones that aren't constantly under siege or being raided from. So though that basically wraps up, I think, all of my first basic tips. I'm not really gonna do many combat tips here. If that's a video you want to see, if this is a game you would like to see more of, let me know. Otherwise, there's plenty of videos out there of content creators that have posted themselves playing the game. So go watch those. Check out my Twitch where I fought through this siege. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.